Hey guys, Wednesday design video, back porches, how to fix them, how to screen them in. Come join me. Got a back porch we're working on. It looks like this, okay? So you see these columns, they're a little bit funny. Something's going on there. This is the other view. So I was just showing you this side. It's a corner porch. This is it, okay? You got a door here going out. You got a door here. This column arrangement is weird, okay? Typically you don't set up columns so that one, they line up with the door, but two, so that you create these two separate zones. I talked to you in that other video about kind of this separation here, and here they've got this equal separation, which for me doesn't work. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna fix these deals. I'm gonna fix this side first, and that's what this picture is. It's basically, that whole span's only like 14 feet. So by the time I put columns in here, and here's the deal, guys. If I have a porch that connects into the house, okay, and let's say my porch is out here. I've got a column that typically sits right there, but what's best is when there's an engaged pilaster against the house, okay? So if I'm looking at this and there's a porch, here's my column, there's an engaged pilaster here, it ties it visually to the house and makes it better. They've done that here. They've got this engaged pilaster. I don't like round engaged pilasters because instead of having these sharp angles that go into the wall, they kind of do this, okay? And this line becomes muddy and it becomes like, well, where's the finish point? Where's it ending? By doing a square pilaster, you are clearly defining where the end of the porch is. And so what I'm doing on this thing is I'm going to do a square pilaster in the back, and then a pier on the corner, okay, with two columns on either side. Again, the kind of a classical tradition that works. Why does it work? Because this gives you visual strength, okay? And then that cluster of columns there on the outside strengthens that corner, strengthens that opening, but then it really opens up the outside of it. Notice here that I've got this floor plan. Basically, I had two columns here. By the time I put an engaged pilaster in a round column, a pier in a round column, this space isn't too big. Maybe it's 8 feet, 9 feet, since that's 7'4". Yeah, so it's 9 feet. This is about 7 feet. Looks really nice, works, opens this porch up. This is really blocked off, okay? When you close this off, and this one looks closed off, that looks closed off, and so it's just not working, this space, this column spacing. Notice what I've done here is this is the inside view. You can kind of see the faint outlines for where those columns are. Engaging a pilaster with a column, pier, two columns, opens this thing up, makes this more livable. Now, they also kind of want to screen this in, which I love, screened in porches. And so what I'm showing for them is I'm showing basically a Roman lattice design, okay? Now, this is a Roman lattice design. And if you look back in antiquity, if you want to go do a deep dive into it, this is basically a Roman lattice. This is a Roman lattice, okay? And this goes back to ancient Rome. So this is a classical design motif that was used over time. This is Calder Loth, he's a University of Virginia, or he worked for the state of Virginia as a historian, architectural historian. He's done a ton of videos on the ICAA website, classicist.org, tons of videos, teaching videos, a incredible wealth of knowledge. He does one on Roman lattice, and you can, if you Google Roman lattice, you'll see these pictures, because this is from his blog or his thing that he was teaching. But it's an excellent design tool. Now, for this house, because it's an Italian revival house, a Mediterranean revival house, this kind of Roman lattice works. This kind of Roman lattice, I think, is very effective. So what we would do is we would put this wood frame inside here. We'd have a door that goes out here and then screen below, but this Roman lattice kind of motif. Over here, basically I was showing them some different designs and how that would work between these columns. You could even do a classical balustrade across here as another kind of motif, but the way I've worked it out is I've broken it into threes. Now that I've separated these columns, I've got a center door that goes out, which is what you're seeing there, a Roman lattice design. If they didn't like that, I had some other options that show them that could go in here. But then this too could be Roman lattice. You could have a door going out here if you wanted. I thought we would just have one passageway that would go through here that would work off this door. But again, a 3-part opening, breakout over here, Roman lattice below, screens above, should be a space and a porch that really works. That allows them an outdoor living room. I think it's going to look wonderful. The other thing that I wanted to show here is what I'm doing with the ceilings. Now, what they had done was basically they had, I'll move this up here. They had a deep coffered ceiling, okay? So if we look at this design here, they had these beams that ran across here. The problem with those beams is they didn't line up on anything. Now, to my eye, what I want visually, and you can kind of see it in this picture, how that beam drops down, but doesn't fully engage. It's just kind of odd the way it was laid out. For this ceiling, okay, I want, if you're going to do a coffered ceiling like that, I want it to make visual sense. And so I don't want beams hanging up over windows. And so it doesn't make sense to me. So the thing that they've got here is they got a big, deep roof eave inside, which I love. So if this is the outside beam, right, they've got 18 inches or more between the ceiling and the column engages. So from the bottom of your beam to your ceiling, you got 18 inches. You got a lot of space up there. So what that allows you to do is build some kind of coffered ceiling in that space. Now, going back to the classical tradition, right? You've got your cyma, your corona, your bed mold, your frieze, your architrave, right? There's your entablature. So you've got those parts up in here. There's your frieze that's running around. I mean, there's your architrave running around over top of the beams. Your frieze in there in these columns. So to make a coffered ceiling in here, I could just take that cornice and come down 6 inches, right? And have those be my beam. They've got a beam that comes down really far, almost like 12 inches or 14 inches. It's too much. So if we stayed up in this area, and for this ceiling, if we basically, did this even organization of pattern in here, maybe even line it up with the intermediary columns in there, I could create a really nice coffered ceiling in there. That would actually work really well here. You can see I've got some shallow beams up there. It could be coffered, that could work. So there's a couple ways to do this, but between the coffered ceiling, the change in the columns, I really think that this can transform that porch into something really special, changing just a few things. Column placement, beam ceiling, Roman lattice, that kind of architectural influencer that kind of joins onto the house and really makes it better. So let me know what you guys think. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.